Yes. I'm going to keep this video pretty short. I just want to put out a quick training video. I kind of wish I got it out this morning, but I didn't, so it is what it is. So I was thinking about this the last couple days, right? And I look at GroupMe and I see some people's responses in GroupMe. I've gone to a couple events over the last couple days, and I went out canvassing with a canvasser on Monday or Tuesday briefly. And in this journey, this week, going out and talking to customers, I really get to thinking, how do you make this a more positive experience, our job and whatnot, a more positive experience? And I ask this because this was our Jubilee Day, for example. We get to Jubilee Day, me and Chadwick get there a little bit, later towards the end of the day. We run into, four different employees, all with various performance. One of them, Jenny, great job. Jenny had four leads at the time that I ran into her, was setting her fourth rather, was extremely positive, was getting, sweepstakes over and over and over again, was only stopped by the amount of time in the day. That's it. Doing an incredible job. That same day, Braxton got five leads at a baseball game that we typically see, two leads or so from. So we got great people doing great things, a lot of other great people out there too, hustling hard, and that's fantastic. But the question was, to me, why is some people's performance at the same events so low? And Jubilee Day, for example, is a huge event for us. That's an event where we should be at a collective total of 30 or so leads for that day, 30 set appointments for that day, and over 100 sweepstakes for the day. And we just weren't there. And we haven't been there the last 2 years. Prior years before that, we were there. Okay. But the leads sell. It's a good customer base. It is our customer, right? So that got me to thinking, why do we still see this gap between success and failure in this job? And why do we see it at every level? In training in office, in training out of office, and then when we're out there seeing success or not at the job. It got me thinking a couple different ways. Okay. So I'm going to break down three different things for you. Okay. First is going to be the definition of success. Okay. And the question is can you find success in a job like this? As a person, can you find success? Okay. The second thing is going to be how do you start the day off the right way? Because that's going to be one of the core answers to success. Okay. Because it is a cycle. You're going to see this kind of circular kind of shape to what we're going over. And then finally, at an event, what can I do to be successful? At an event specifically, what can I do to be successful? I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 points in each one quickly, okay? And then I'm going to try to recap them too, okay? So first, I want to talk about the definition of success. So the definition of success, the most universally known definition of success is the achievement of a desired goal, purpose, or outcome. It often involves reaching a personal or professional milestone, fulfilling potential, or living in alignment with one's value. Okay. So, a lot of people think of um, rich people as successful people, inherently successful people. Okay. There's plenty of inherently successful rich people out there, plenty of them. Okay. Um, that being said, there's plenty of not so successful rich people too. Have you heard of the? I'll ask this question as though people can answer. Have you heard of the Vanderbilt family or the Rockefeller family? Okay, um, you probably have. All right, the Rockefeller family was heavily invested in the oil industry. Um, Let me see. I have one question for the computer right now. Um, it's about the Vanderbilt family. So so the let me see. Yeah, all right. So this is a great example. So the the Vanderbilt family built railroads. Okay. Now the Vanderbilt family, one of the most successful families in the Rockefeller family in this country's history. Okay. Um, Cornelius Vanderbilt, okay, Commodore, they called him Vanderbilt, was born in 1794 and died in 1877. So he lived for a good amount of years. Okay. He accrued $200 billion worth of wealth. $200 billion worth of wealth. He was one of the wealthiest American men ever, rivaling Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. Okay, so you have these three pillars of industry: Andrew Carnegie, steel; John Rockefeller was oil; and Cornelius Vanderbilt was railroads. Okay, um, William Vanderbilt inherited most of his father's fortune, and he doubled it. Okay, he was worth an additional, $50 billion just by the time he died. Okay. That being said, their wealth declined very sharply after that. Okay. He died in 1885. It declined very sharply after that. They built a bunch of mansions. There's a great mansion down in North Carolina called the Biltmore Mansion. Beautiful, the biggest house in America. It's not owned by the Vanderbilts anymore, but it was. Okay. But by the 1970s, most descendants had no net worth from the original fortune. Okay. And the two modern descendants that were alive or alive most recently is Gloria Vanderbilt, who died in 2019, and she was her estate was valued at $1.5 million at her death. And Anderson Cooper, who is a TV presenter, and he's built a net worth of $200 million through his career, but he received 1.5 million from his mother's estate. Okay. That being said, what happens to the wealth? The success goes away. Success is in building something. Success is in doing something of value and giving back to the world in a way where, hey, I've earned it and now I'm giving back. And that can come in numerous different fashions. There's plenty of buildings out there named after the Vanderbilt family. At the end of the day, your and my family probably has more net worth at this point than the average Vanderbilt family member. Okay. Why? Because the parents, okay, or the patriarch and matriarch, they worked for it, and they saw success. They had it made. Oftentimes, their kids who grew up probably pretty tough and inherited that fortune later on, they also had it made. They built the wealth. They went out and they built the Hilton hotels and they did the this and that, whatever. Okay. By the time it hits the third generation, that's gone away, man. That hard work does not exist anymore. And now it's just accrued wealth. That's it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't like that. I'm not saying don't give me, hey, hand me $200 billion any day, right? But um I'll know that I didn't work for it. It'll be a lot easier to squander something that I did not work for than that I worked for. Okay. Winning the lottery is a net positive. It doesn't make you successful. Okay. So this idea of success, guys, it's built on your personal goals and what you do with your life, what you do with your income, how you build your family. All of these things mean way more to success than money ever will. Okay. Doesn't mean we don't need it. Doesn't mean we don't want it. Build your money yourself. That's what I mean. Okay. Build your money yourself. All right. So my daughter was telling me that one of her friends, her friend's mother is a psychiatrist. Her friend's father is some kind of surgeon or something like that. So they do pretty well. Her friend goes around telling people that she is depressed and she has all these illnesses, mental illnesses, and it's not true. Okay, it's not true. And I know it's verifiably not true. She accidentally slipped and told my daughter that she had dementia. Okay, because she didn't know what it was. It's kind of funny. You know what I mean? Dementia. I have ADHD. I have anxiety, and I have dementia. Oh, do you? Okay, cool, dude. You're 13 years old. Get over yourself. Relax. Okay. Um, there's a social value given to being downtrodden or having troubles and whatnot, that can be very difficult, I think, for people that are younger, like my daughter's age, to get over. You know what I mean? And I think we've all been there. Actually, it always exists in teenagers, but it's a lot more difficult to find your way out of it today, given media consumption and how available things are to kids. I mean, this kid makes YouTube videos about her, mental illnesses at 13 years old. It's a very difficult thing to manage through, And by the way, too, at some stage, you give yourself those mental illnesses. Now, mirror that against one of my best friends in the world who was tortured for 10 years and went through the worst harm I have ever seen in my life, ever heard of in my life, to the relationships that they carried. And I asked her if I can use her story and whatnot, and I'm not going to put a name to it or anything like that, but not that anybody would know her, but wonderful person, successful in every way, outwardly happy. You would never know that the torture that they dealt with was not routine abuse. It was the sickest kind that you could ever imagine. And years later, she's dealing with the repercussions of it, the PTSD, the constant reminders of trauma, the constant, night terrors and issues and things like that. And I say this because, I was speaking with her the other day, and we were talking about waking up in a positive way and how it's not always easy, but she has a routine to do it. The first thing is to try to wake up gently. So night terrors are something that she goes through, right? If, let's say, she's struck awake by a night terror, then she tries to go back to sleep, not because she needs more sleep, not because she wants to lay around all day. Even if it's 5 minutes, she wants to wake up gently, to a gentle alarm, to a gentle phone call, to something that's not going to throw her into an anxiety attack or anything like that. The second that she wakes up, she looks at herself in the mirror, and she says out loud three things in her life that she's grateful for, even though she's lost pretty much everything and everybody. Okay, she finds three things for that day to be grateful for. The third thing that she does is she asks herself, "What can I do today to make somebody else feel better, to make somebody else happier, to put somebody else a smile on somebody else's face?" All this is done before she drinks a glass of water. This is done from the second she wakes up until she gets to the refrigerator to grab a glass of water. She drinks a glass of water, and then she moves around, does some stretching, walking, yoga, and whatnot, and then gets ready for the day. Um, you won't find her near a phone for the first, probably 30 or 40 minutes of the day. And then the last thing that she does before she hits the road is writes down a very intentional goal for herself, and writes down how she's going to accomplish that too. Okay. Now, we're not big believers in affirmative, sayings or whatever. Okay. But it's something that is being tried. Okay. Speaking positivity in at least speaking positively, you know what I mean? But we'll see how that works out. I mean, it's something I'm trying myself too. I'm going to make today count is a simple thing to say to yourself. I'm going to handle all my challenges today. I'm going to check off the hardest things on my list today. Just anything. You know what I mean? Eating a balanced breakfast is important as well. And reviewing a to-do list, even if it's a day off. These are things that starts her off in a positive way. Most of those things, a lot of those things I do too. Some of them I don't do, but you have to start off yourself in a positive mindset, because that leads me to the last thing, which is when you get to an event, how you're prepared is extremely important. I don't care how many people you're in front of. I don't care where you're in front of people. The idea of an event is the same idea as canvassing. It's getting in front of people. When I go out there to canvass on the road, my intention is to talk to 10 to 30 people. 10 to 30 people is my goal. Okay. If you put me in front of 10 people, I know I'll set at least two of them. Okay. I know I will. Now, it's a different environment. It's a completely different, kind of conversation, but there's a lot of similarities, number one. Number two, there's a reason why we see canvassing people do so well at events, and it's because the interaction at a door is much more harsh, I would say, than it is at an event. People, not that people can't be mean, but people will be more mean at their house or more nice at their house, right? They might be more relaxed, they might not be. But when I'm going to the event, I'm not thinking about that. I'm already prepared for that. I'm not dwelling on that. I'm already prepared for that. When you get to an event, guys, you're set up a couple things to having a great event. Okay. Number one, get there early, 15, 20 minutes early, before the setup starts. Okay. So when I say early, I mean you might need to get there an hour early to do the setup, but get there then an hour and 15 minutes early. Okay. Be prepared there, because you're going to feel better about it if you're prepared. Do a beautiful setup. You need to feel confident in your booth. One of the things that's changed over the last couple of years that's been a problem is we took the windows away from the booth and we started taking away stuff that matters, like corner cut samples and stuff like that. Having yourself as prepared as possible with all of the tools that you need ready, set up, looking nice is extremely important. So get that done first when you get to an event. Go and take a picture of the booth and say to yourself, hey, would I feel confident sending this picture to Joe Zisman, who owns the company? Is this representing his company well? Okay. Um, Always be in front of the booth. Always be in front of the booth. Organized breaks are the only times that you're not in front of the booth. Organized breaks. Not, hey, I feel like sitting down for 10 minutes. Okay. Not, I've been working hard. Let me take a 5-minute smoke break. Organized breaks are important. I'm drinking my juice. People always wonder what it is. When I use the blue one, people say it looks like windshield washer fluid. Um, so set up right, get out in front of the booth, okay? Be prepared to speak to every customer. Now, one thing that's added in, guys, because we've seen this, one of the biggest struggles I've noticed at events, and I've dealt with the same thing, is I see a lot of people standing out there going, enter to win $50,000 window makeover, enter to win a $50,000 window makeover, enter to win a $50,000 window makeover. Would you like to be our next winner? Enter to win. Would you like to be our next winner? Would you like? Guys, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's time that we get over the fact that that doesn't work and we start to do something else. Make it different, okay? That can be one of the many things that you say, all right? But what Chadwick was doing at the events, it works. It's uncomfortable the first couple times you do it. It really is. What he was doing is he was taking a piece of the window, okay, the corner cut, and he was walking up to the person. He would say, hey, have you seen our new material? This is Fibrex material, this and that. Start the conversation with the person and go, hey, we're giving away $50,000 worth of them right now. You look like our next winner. Just sign up. I have your, or, what's your name? Right. And he would just get started with it. Okay. Or he would take up the color samples and he would say, hey, I don't know if you've seen our new colors or options yet at Renewal by Andersen. We have pretty much every color. What's your favorite color? Right. Something like that. Okay. It starts the conversation off the right way because we don't want to just be droning on enter to win, enter to win, enter to win, enter to win. Okay. It doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. The next thing is that when you're at this event and you got people walking by you, don't start talking to them when they're directly in front of you. Start talking to them when they're over here. Okay. Before they start to walk by you, stop them and start the conversation with them then. Okay. That's something even I still struggle with today. But it's extremely essential to having a successful event. Writing the appointments are important. You can't get there without starting the conversation. So getting that conversation down is very important, guys. Have the mentality of no breaks. Take a break after you set a couple leads. Every 2 leads, take a 5-minute break. Every 2 leads, take a 5-minute break. However you want to do it, but get something in there before you're taking a break. Okay. Finally, keep the positive vibe the entire time. Keep the positive vibe the entire time. And a big part of that positive vibe, guys, is representing the brand the right way. Are you wearing a Renewal by Andersen shirt? Okay, do you have your Renewal by Andersen stuff on? And can people see the logo and do they know who you're with? Okay, you can't show up in street clothes and be successful at these events. You just can't. You're not representing the company the right way. You're not, right? So you got to think about these things, guys. Finally, the last thing I'll share with you is track your bonuses and track your commissions. Look for your appointments. That's the reason for a lot of successful people. They track their stuff. They know what's going on with their leads. Okay. All right. So let me break this down one more very simple time for you. Okay. So definition of success, guys, is going out there and achieving goals. It's going out there and achieving goals. It's not in the amount of money that you inherently have, it's in achieving goals. All right. One of the biggest keys to success is putting your mind in the right way. And it's all about how you wake up. Wake up gently and ready for the day. Practice gratitude for a couple minutes. Okay. Drink water right away. Move around a bit. Avoid your phone if you can. Set an intentional goal, guys, because all of this is so intentional. Speak positively to yourself, and be ready for the day. When you get to an event, make sure your setup is done early, make sure it's done right. Get in front of the table, hand customers things as you start the conversation with them. Okay. So again, you might walk up with like the color swatches and say, "Sir, I have to ask you, what's your favorite color?" We just came out with a bunch of different color options for Renewal by Andersen. We have this, and that. We even have black. Okay. It takes a second to sign up, $50,000 window makeover. One thing that you can say that Chadwick was saying is, that I really liked is he was walking up the sweep pad and he'd say, "Sir, we only got a couple people sign up right now. Way better chances than winning the lottery. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, you sign up for a sweepstake right now. I'll put in 2 entries for you right now." Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. No big deal. Start the conversation off that way. Give them some kind of incentive and value in what they're getting. The appointment setting stuff has been going fine, guys. We've been doing great with setting appointments once we get them over into sweepstakes. The problem is that the amount of sweepstakes that we've seen has gone way down. And it's not because appointments are way up, but we're getting like when we do well, we're getting 11 sweepstakes and 6 appointments. More than half of them are converting at a lot of these events. We just need to make more customer interactions. Okay, so I hope that helps out a little bit. Okay, stay in a positive mindset out there. You have to know you're going to do well. That's the difference between the best canvasser and the best events agent in the world and the worst one in the world. The best ones know they're going to go out and make commission. The worst ones do not think they will. Okay, so you got to make sure that you're making your expectations reasonable, but also high. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful, I guess we're almost on Saturday, so a beautiful weekend. Thank you.